Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, I'm Patty, and on Mondays I make gnomes, characters, and animals. I had a lot of requests to make this little Jack Sparrow gnome. He's got little boots, a little hat, a little bone, little dreadlocks. I'm giving you the PDF in the description below as well as the SVG file. If you don't see them, you can always download them from my website, pattyjgood.com. If you want how to make this little guy, stick around. I'll show you how. Thanks for watching. I love you guys. Okay, we're going to start with some craft foam and a 70mm half ornament. Go ahead and cut your pattern pieces out, and then go ahead and snip the tab off of the ornament. And then take a little sanding paper and sand it over your trash can. Then we're going to start assembling it. We're just going to start right at the tip top and start putting these corners together. Now, I've given you the pattern in both SVG and PDF. So you can just download it and cut it out. You can start doing these because we want to make sure that we're going to get it centered onto that ornament when we get ready. Now, it doesn't take long for this to dry, but just go ahead and take some time on this one part here. And don't worry so much if you get a little bit of glue on the outside of it, because we are going to come back in and paint these to make it look like leather. Okay, so it should just be flat right now. You should be able to just lay it down flat. Okay, then we're just going to take it, we're going to put a dollop of glue right down in the very center of this ornament, and we're just going to place this right over the top. Then we're going to start gluing our sides down. And you want to make sure that you do make sure that they're flat on there. They don't have any raised edges, because we are going to come back in and put a little bit of trim between them, but try to get them as close to each other as possible. They should fit flush right side by side with this pattern. Just keep going around and gluing each one of these. And if you need to pull it closer to the other side, you can stretch this craft foam a little bit. It should meet right up with it. Just really make sure that you do get it smoothed out good. And then just trim any excess off all the way flush with the ornament. Okay, next we're going to take a 1/4-inch strip of craft foam, same color, and we are just going to go across where those divisions were. Now, I don't have an exact length on this. I just cut these, but you can measure it ahead of time if you want to. But it's just a 1/4-inch strip. And just kind of stretch it as you're going along so it does fit pretty flush. And then cut it off and then do the same thing on the opposite side. Okay, next we're going to take a 1/2-inch strip and we're just going to go all the way around the base of it. And just overhang just very, very little on this one. Okay, next we're going to attach our top to our base. Just go ahead and measure all the way around to make sure you have it perfectly centered, and then just push it down. And that'll give you an indent where you need to mark. And then from that circle inside to that indent, you need to cut little grooves out, just little sections out so that you can fold this into the hat when we get ready to glue it in. And then we're just going to put it over our top and we're just going to glue these in. Now the easiest way to do this, I put some glue inside first and then push the tabs in. The easiest way is to put some glue onto the tabs first and then glue those in. And don't worry if you're a little bit off when you get it put in there. If it is a little bit not centered, you can stretch this craft foam, and I will show you here in a minute how I did mine, because I was a little bit off centered on mine. But you do want to try to get any of those excess glue strings off there. Okay, next I'm going to paint the hat. I'm just painting it with some brown, and I'm just getting my paint on here really good first, and then I'm going to come back in with a very stiff brush and kind of smooth it out so you don't see any of the paintbrush marks. And you're going to do that to the top, the bottom, and the brim. And then I'm going to come in with some black paint, just kind of distress it a little bit, trying to make it look a little bit more like leather. Just kind of really smooth that in. And you want to put the black on while the brown is still wet. And now we're just going to go ahead and shape it. We're just going to pull it into the front like that and start gluing it in. And this is going to be like a tri-fold hat. So we're going to glue these two sides and we're going to glue the back straight up. Next, I'm taking a piece of felt that measures 6.5 by 5.5 inches, and I'm taking a 2-inch circle and two 2-inch by 1-inch styrofoam circles. Now you could use a pool noodle, you just have to cut it to 2 inches tall. And then I'm going to just go ahead and glue my little 2-inch circle on here onto the bottom. And then we're going to glue this with about a 1/4 inch overhang on the bottom and go all the way down. Now we are rolling the 6.5 inch side, so the diameter of the tube is going to be the 6.5 inch. And go ahead and glue that all the way up. Seal it in good, and then we're going to fill it with polyfill. We're going to leave about 1 inch at the very top, and then we're going to put a rubber band around the top to close it up. Just kind of get it pushed in there really good, but you want to make sure that you have about 1 inch hanging over at the top. Next, I'm taking a brown chunky piece of yarn and I'm measuring it at 11.5 inches in length. Now, I'm going to cut a bunch of these strips. You just want to make sure that you cut enough to kind of fill your ring where you have about 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches opening on the front. And I'm just going to use a 2-inch wooden ring to attach these two. Next, I'm going to take my yarn, I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to hook it onto my ring like that. So just pull it through the loop, and you want to keep going until you have about 1.5 inches opening in the front. So you want about that much room when you open it up. Okay, next we're going to take some brown yarn and we're going to measure 18 inches and we are going to fold this over until we have 6 layers. And then just go ahead and fold it in half, and we're going to loop this onto the front part of the loop right there in the middle. And we're going to do another one for the opposite side as well. So this one is just going to, I'm going to do one, and then and then you can do another one next to it. And just go ahead and pull it down, and then just kind of trim them off so they're open. And then we're going to divide these in half. So you'll have 6 strands per side, and then we're just going to braid them. And then I'm just going to take some embroidery floss to tie off at the bottom. Now I used a lighter color here, but I came back in and I took this off and I put a darker brown on them. And then you're going to trim it a little bit short at the bottom. And do the same thing for the other 6 strands. And then go ahead and do a duplicate of this to put on the opposite side. Then I'm going to add another 11.5 inch one right between those 2 that I just braided. Just kind of split them up a little bit. And then you're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. You braid another 2 of those and put another piece in between them on that side. And you can add braids all throughout this if you want to. Next, I'm going to add 2 more of the 11.5 inch ones. I'm going to add one on this one side and one on the opposite side. And I'm just going to put a little clip on the bottom of them. And I'm going to kind of zigzag some of this embroidery floss over the top of it. So go ahead and tie it in a knot up there. Leave enough room to run your loop through, and then just kind of cross it, zigzag all the way down, and then tie that off. It just gives a little bit of variation in his hair. It has a little bit of variety there. And then we're just going to loop this right onto the center of the ring. And then you're going to make another one for the opposite side. Next, I'm taking some elastic bracelet thread. And I'm just going to go ahead and hang a little pendant on there that I got at Hobby Lobby. Just want something that kind of dangles at the bottom. And then we're just going to start adding beads. And I'm going to make 2 strands of beads. This one's going to have the one that dangles, and the other ones are just going to be regular beads. And then I'm going to make one little short one also. You just want to add enough beads so that it'll go up to probably about right onto the little wooden ring. We're going to tie it onto it. Just kind of randomly pick which ones you want, but kind of give some color and some little metal pieces between it. Just kind of break it up a little bit. And then we're just going to attach it to our loop right in the center. And let it hang down just a little bit because we are going to put the little bandana around his head. And you want it to hang a little bit below that. And I'm going to make another one, and I'm just going to kind of randomly put it to the side in another location. Just kind of, you can put as many beads as you want. It's just totally up to you what you want to do. In my second set, I just hung it right over there to the side. Okay, next I'm going to take some faux fur and measure it at 1 1/4 inch wide by 2 inches in length. And then I'm just going to cut it in a U shape all the way around from one side to the other on the backing only. And then just clean any excess fur off. For his jacket, we're going to cut a piece of felt that's 6 inches by 4 1/2 inches. And just come down just a little bit from the top edge and just go ahead and glue that all the way around, just the top part. Okay, next I'm just going to attach the beard. I'm just going to come right up to the top edge. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and attach the hair. Just come right over the center and pull the little tip of the body right through the center. And then we'll glue it in here in a minute. And we're just going to put a little dollop of glue under little sections here. We're not going to put a lot, just a little bit to hold it in. Okay, next we're going to make the bandana. It's 9 inches by 4 inches, and we are going to hem up one of the short sides and 2 of the long sides. So just a 1/4 inch seam over here, and then we're going to fold it over about 1 inch on both sides till it kind of overlaps in the middle. Then just going to go ahead and find the center point, put a little dollop of glue right in the middle, and we're just going to start wrapping this around his head. Now you want to leave a little bit of opening in the front for his nose here in a minute, so be sure you don't glue all the way straight down. And then just fold it over in the back and go ahead and glue it down. Okay, next I'm just going to add the nose, and it's a 15 millimeter half wooden bead. I'm just lifting up his bandana and just sticking it right up underneath there. Okay, next I'm going to go ahead and make his shoes. Now I'm going to cut my sticks at 4 1/2 inches each. I went ahead and sharpened them with a pencil sharpener, and then I'm just going to cut off the end. Now I did have to come back in and cut them off a little bit shorter, but I'm going to show you that in the video as well. And then I'm just taking a brown oven baked clay. I'm putting 2 little nuts inside a foil and just rolling them up, and that's going to be the base of my shoes. And then I'm going to show you the measurement. All you got to do is get it something real close to this, and then you can use the shoe pattern that I'm providing for you to cover these. So we're just going to go ahead and take some oven baked clay. I'm rolling it out a little bit, and I'm just going to put that foil piece right inside of there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and cover it completely and kind of shape the front of the boot to look more rounded. And then I'm going to flatten out the back a little bit. Just kind of roll it into a tube, kind of make sure it's smooth, and it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth because we are going to cover these. So I'm flattening out the back, and then I'm just going to roll the front out a little bit to kind of round it out. And I'm going to do the other one exactly the same way. Just kind of get it shaped like a boot in the front. And then just put a stick in the back and bake these for 25 minutes at 275 degrees. And you can do it without the sticks in it. Next, I'm going to take my Bacon Bond glue. I'm going to go ahead and put some glue inside each one of the little crevices. And I'm going to put my stick in there. Now, try to make sure that your stick is standing up straight. And then we're going to take some of that same clay, and we're just going to roll out a little log, wrap it around there just to hold all that together. And just kind of smooth it out. Just get it wrapped around there and just kind of smooth it out. Again, you don't have to be perfect on this because they're not going to be seen anyways. I was going to use the Dollar Tree shoes, but they were just a little bit too big. And you're going to bake this for 15 minutes at 275 degrees. Now I'm going to show you the measurements. You need to make sure it measures about 1.5 inches long by about 3/4 of an inch wide, 3/4 of an inch on that side, and 1 1/4 inch at the top part. Then I'm going to take my pattern that I cut out, and I'm just going to go ahead and distress it just like I did the hat with the brown and the black. Then I'm going to go ahead and poke a stick up in the bottom on both sides for his legs. And this is where I figured out his legs were a little bit too long. And I'm going to come back in and I'm going to cut these sticks off another inch. His overall length of his leg, once you put it up into the body, is going to be 2 3/4. So I'm going to cut those off, and I'm going to put it up into the body, and then I'm going to mark these. You want to make sure that they're no more than 2 3/4 inch once you stick that stick up in there. Okay, next, just to make sure that the stick is secured, I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of craft foam and wrap it around the top edge, glue that to the shoe and the stick as well. And that way you'll make sure that this does stay all together, and do that for both of them. Now I'm going to go ahead and make the shoes. I'm taking the back heel part first, put it right in the center, and then I'm going to wrap it around. Now try not to use too much glue because you did already paint these and you want them to still look good. You don't want any glue oozing out. So kind of take your time on these shoes. And then for the front, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right in the center, and I'm just going to push that up there and let that dry, and then I'm going to start pulling it around the shoe. Now you can stretch craft foam pretty easily, so if you didn't get your shoes exactly the same size as mine, you can still use this pattern. And I got it in an SVG as well as a PDF. And when I say that the pattern's in the description below, a lot of you are saying that you don't see it. So if you don't see a pattern, you can always get it off my website at www.pattyjgood.com. Next, we're going to go ahead and do the top part of the boot. I did one first, and it kind of struggled through it until I figured out what I wanted to do. You're just going to fold it over and then just interlock it and glue those together. Just the top part of the boot only. So you're just going to fold it over until you have about 1/4 inch hanging out the bottom of the boot. And then you're going to go ahead and put it over the shoe, and then we're going to pull the other part down and glue it down. So you want to do this in 2 stages. Don't glue the whole thing together at first. Just glue the top part and then the bottom part. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and put them inside the gnome just to make sure that they're right, and then I'm going to pull them back out and I'm going to glue them in. Next, I strung up another little, about 5 beads, little string to put at the top part here, and I'm just gluing in the top part of his bandana. Just got 5 little beads on there. Okay, next I'm going to mix some white and some brown to make a bone color. And we're going to make the little bone that he wears on his hat. Just roll it in a log, roll out the front part to make it kind of thinner. Then just mash the whole thing with something flat. And then we're going to just kind of shape it out. Just kind of make sure that your point is rounded at the top, and you're going to bake this for 20 minutes at 275 degrees. Just make it a little bit smaller, roll it, and then poke a hole in it so you have something to hang it with. Okay, then we're going to take some embroidery floss in brown, and I'm just going to wrap it around the top part of the bone. And then I'm going to take the same brown embroidery floss, and I'm going to make a string to run through it to hold it onto his head. Just kind of loop through that hole. And then we're going to glue this right to the top part of his body. And I'm just going to put it right in the center and just glue it right down in the center. So put some glue in there. I'm just taking a popsicle stick to kind of hold it down there. Then I squeeze the top together. Next, I'm just going to put some glue on 2 sides of the hat, and I'm just going to put it on him. All right, there he is. I think he turned out really cute. If you like these kind of videos, be sure and give me a thumbs up. If you want to see future videos, be sure and subscribe and ring that bell to be notified when I have a new video upload. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you have any that you want me to make, leave it in the comments below.